Welcome to my TED Talk. In today's video, we're going to talk about young Prime Fist Isao in Kaiju No the game. Do you need your Prime Fist, or do you need the Fist of the Prime, Isao? And we're going to talk about that, while I clearly need a little bit of everything. I have no resources at all because I went completely overboard trying to pull for Isao. I did one multi after, by the way, and it's hilarious because if you didn't see the summon video, don't talk to me. Go watch some video. You just have to see what happened in that. That is the biggest amount of effery I've ever seen in my life. But the craziest thing is, afterwards, I did large conquest, which we're going to talk about in the video, and I actually got a copy of the weapon, which I thought was funny. And you know what I was going to do? I was going to do a video showcasing this weapon and all that stuff. I was going to do it on Kikaru, but then I thought, oh, it's not useless, but damn near. Because crit does literally nothing for this character. Because she's always penetrating, and penetrates can't crit. So crit rate, crit damage is irrelevant. Irrelevant. Literally irrelevant. So, yeah. I think all of her skills, maybe one of them doesn't. Yeah, that one doesn't. Okay. Blunt damage. Okay, speed. Where the hell is the penetration at? Is it on the ultimate only? Okay, it's on the ultimate and follow-up. My bad. So 2 of her skills don't penetrate. So my bad. It's not entirely worthless. It's just largely worthless because she's built on spamming the ultimate. Anyway, so then I thought about the other Isao, and I was like, I could put it on him, but, like, why? Like, why? Anyway, so Fierce Battle. No, not Fierce Battle. Large Conquest. So here's the thing. Where the freaking... Okay, there it is. So here's the thing. I spent... Sheesh. Roughly an hour and a half yesterday on this stage. Just trying to run different configurations of characters and stuff to figure out the appropriate way to deal with this. And I'm here to report to you that I don't think this is beatable without new Isao. Now, maybe somebody has beaten it without him. If so, let me know. But I tried a bunch of different combinations of characters. And my best run was, I believe, this team. And I got through like 34 enemies on this. And it took a little bit of good luck because Kikaru spent half that fight at like 100 HP. But Sagan started drawing all the hits. And we were able to snowball with the support of Sagan and Chester. And it was very, 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 very times 10 important that I had Rin as the character linked with Kikaru, so that Rin was constantly doing those follow-ups that were doing adjacent attacks. Or AoE attacks. So those extra hits, especially when she was in a buffed state or when the enemy had defense down from Kikaru, that was all very significant, and Rin popped off. However, the problem I ran into, and this is kind of where I gave up, because you have to spend 15 minutes, like seriously, at least 10 minutes playing this first stage, and then you get to Squad 2. And frankly, I couldn't test enough on Squad 2 because it was really hard to get through Stage 1. Because Stage 1, they do some nonsense in here. It's not even about like the plate breaks, which helps tremendously. It's also just sheerly about the simple fact that they load this wave with so many fast enemies that hit pretty hard. So what you're going to see here is that they're going to go at the start of this turn, and they're all going to consecutively start going. Look at all these attacks. My characters get one sequence in here, but they get like 7 attacks. And in this case, they're hitting Sagan, so okay, right? But there's a good chance that they're hitting other characters. I believe some of them have blast attacks in here, or AoE attacks or something like that in here too, right? Yeah, AoE hits. So they have AoE hits too. So like, it ultimately just becomes a question about survivability. I was able to do fine with like Isao in there. I was able to do fine with Akari in there. But if you lean too heavily into survivability, then you don't have the requisite damage. And so ultimately, this was my best setup, like I said, and they cleared over 30. I kind of gave up because it takes too long to get through this stage. Couldn't test enough on the second wave. But in my limited testing on the second wave, I ran into a problem where you don't really have enough damage to kind of push through this, because the blunt characters are split too much. If you don't have the damage, you need to rely on plate breaks. And I can't do it because the blunt characters that would primarily be plate breaking would be these two characters. And she's also an elemental. This one does have elemental here. And if you're pulling away Sagan from this second team and you're looking for elemental, it's very slim pickings. I don't naturally have a problem with using these 4-star characters in normal content. Actually, is there one of these other ones I haven't built that's got an elemental AoE? Because that would be really good. Let me see. Single, all singles. Okay, let me just confirm that really quick because there may be a dark horse here. You've only got one attack that's elemental. Nope. You're not elemental. You've got poison, but that's not elemental. You're purely single target. You're not elemental. You're purely, you have, yeah, single target there. So yeah, like you, there's only a few enemies that have elemental, but they have multiple elemental plates on there. So it screams use Sagan. If I recall correctly, they've got like 2 or 3. It screams, yeah, see 2. It screams use Sagan here because she will pop blunt and elemental, but Sagan is, I thought, was mandatory for the front wave. So ultimately, I said all that to say that, long story short, like I said, circling back, I don't know that this is beatable without Isao. And the reason why is because the blunt characters are spread too thin. It's Isao, Kikuru, and Sagan. They're the best ones at this. I did test out Kafka. The problem with Kafka on this wave specifically, he worked fine until this stage. The problem with Kafka, because he has an AoE blunt attack, is that he's too slow for the first stage because you need him to start transform. I tried stuff like using him as the character in Shinomiya spot, linked with this Kikuru, so he could be the one to get the follow-ups, get his ult faster. And that was cute. It worked a little bit. It just wasn't exactly enough, which is unfortunate. He just is too slow to get the transformation off. You could go speed. You could go, well, I have speed. You could go ult charge here. Maybe that would help. Maybe if you put a Kari on, maybe he could get it faster. But you're still only maybe talking the difference between one turn, and it's just not fast enough. So he didn't really work great on this phase. And so being slower with all those hits coming out, again, your characters are really pressured, right? So long story short, it's extremely difficult. I don't know that it's doable, but is pulling for Isao, this is the argument, is pulling for Isao worth basically 300, like say you were me, right? Is that worth 300 gems? And 40 of those shields. And my bad, some more clear rewards here, right? No, just that, like literally just that. No, no. Now, here's the thing. Isao is a character that will be indefinitely good in this mode for a very long time, just like Rin. So like, I think, for the record, I think that this mode literally requires, to complete, it requires 2 things. It requires Shinomiya. I don't know that you're beating this without Shinomiya. Maybe if you have Isao, right? But it requires and Shinomiya and or Isao. So the last one required, I believe, Shinomiya. And so if you are going to want to push through this and summon for Isao as much as you can, I do think you would get the benefit, the value of it. It's just, this is a 26-day event, so you have plenty of time. I don't think Isao in particular is great outside of this mode. Just like I don't think Shinomiya is great outside of that mode. That's kind of one thing that kind of holds my opinion back on the character. And so while I do think that, like, you know how once upon a time the saying was like, you don't need anything for anything. There are some characters that are needed. Like Isao, I do think is needed for that content. And they've made it a point to design it that way because that wave is just too hard. There's just too much damage coming through. So you need to be able to offset that and break their plates more efficiently. And like I said, my team could do it on the first wave, but then I get to the second wave and they could barely live long enough because they're not able to, they don't have enough to go around. And then again, Sagan needs to be on that second wave if you really want elementals, because Reno is fine, but Reno also gets hardcore pressured. Like I started that wave, he took all the aggro and Reno was at 400 life. And then Reno's also purely single target until he gets his ultimate off. It just doesn't work, right? It just doesn't work. So anyway, Isao, wanted to pull him up. I don't think he's particularly great, just in general. I still love that muscle. I don't think he's particularly great just in general, especially at a flat level. And then also, if you don't have his weapon, somebody asked me like, what's the alternative if I didn't pull Isao's weapon because they didn't give him a 4-star weapon. I'm here to tell you that the alternative is probably Kikuru's weapon, and that's like it. Because I mean, technically you could use any of these. It just doesn't. Something is better than nothing, right? But Kikuru's weapon would be the best one. Alternatively, because there's some damage here, there's an attack increase here. I don't think he makes any use of effect hit rate, but at least that's there. The other one is like purely just defense. This does very little for him. It also has a very poor attack stat distribution. Very rarely do you see that. Most of them have a range like this. Yeah, see, most of them have a range like that. Anyway, so I think you can make do if you have Kikuru's weapon, but otherwise the 4-star weapons were made for the other Isao, so this Isao. So I don't think that you're really doing that either. But overall though, I have his weapon. I could pity him out right now. I just don't think that he's good enough to merit that. Now, the alternative to that is, like I said, I don't think he's great outside of that content. Like, for example, I think Kikuru is better than him outside of that content. So if you have Kikuru, she is the go-to. Now, the question is, if you don't have Kikuru and you find yourself in a position where you could use a blunt AoE attacker or adjacent attacker, which Kikuru would be, could you make use of Isao? Like, certainly you could. Like, for example, if you're struggling to clear the later stages in Fierce Battle, the permanent mode, where you got that Kaiju 20, or Kaiju 10 in there, where I always say, like, oh, he's super good, right? Like, the permanent one. Kikuru's super good here, right? Like, he could blow this up too. Now, Kikuru is better at it because she spams the ultimate. She starts with the ultimate. She just gets more bites at the apple. He's more like pure damage based. She is not going to. Maybe over time she does a similar amount of damage, or he does better damage than her just from the rip because he has better damage modifiers and stuff, a better attack stat, I believe, also. But that's more or less it. So this kind of transitioned into like a Shuju pull for Isao, which again I don't think is the case. This is not. That's not good. That's 740 is the base, huh? Okay. Is there a way to see the base for Isao with the weapon on? I don't think so, huh? Yeah, there's no way to see the base with the weapon on. Okay. I wanted to compare it to Kikuru's. Let me just see. Really quick. This is a maxed out Kikuru, by the way. I switched her back to armored and gave her the highest percentage attack increase here. Her weapon is fully boosted, and she's just shy of 2,000 attack. They absolutely are criminals for that. Absolutely criminals for that. She's at 1,100. What is Isao's max attack? There's no way he's at 700. Like, there's something baked in here that he's not getting. Is the weapon baked into the base stat? We can find out right now. Sorry, this completely derailed. Let me just see. I know that the weapon gets baked into the stat total, but it's not the base number, is it? It is the base number. Okay, it is the base number. So she's got a lower attack than him. Because she's even getting an amp of 20. Well, no, he was getting an amp too from this one of 17. So she's got a lower attack than him. So he's in the range of probably like Ashiro when he's fully built up. Yeah, something like that. Like they've had a wave of characters that have like less attack stats recently. It's pretty interesting. Maybe this is why my Reno was getting pressured. I forgot to switch his weapon back. I forgot that Kota stole his weapon. Oh, that's too funny. Well, he has 1,000 attack. Okay, well, how much attack does he have with the other weapon? Or defense, I mean. Like, he's got 1,000 defense. Okay, he's missing 300 defense. I mean, that matters, but I still think he would get pressured and blown up. And my single target thing still matters too. Anyway, so that's mostly everything on Isao. I said all that. I still kind of want to pull for him or pull the character because I'm a collector, because it gives me more leeway to make videos. But I just don't think he's worth it for the average player. And I do wonder if, because also he's unimpressive, like animation wise too. I don't think they really did much. Like I thought the exact opposite for Ashiro. I thought they really emptied the clip on Ashiro. I thought Bako was a cool addition and all that stuff. I thought they did really good. I just didn't think that they did much for Isao. It almost felt like, and I maybe this is just my misremembering or whatever. It almost felt like they reused stuff for him. but I didn't think that he was really particularly worth it. So I want to go through this one more time here. Single target, AoE, AoE, AoE on the follow-up. Again, that's all great, right? For each Kaiju on the field, increases the unit's damage. Before activating the ultimate, applies blunt damage modifier. Each time this unit attacks a Kaiju, applies Valor. When Valor is at its max, he gets combat, or he gets extra damage, and I think gets critical rate in there too. So like, look at what they did here, by the way. This is why you can't ever take these trial stages seriously. Look what they did here. Look at this team composition. So several things are happening here. And they make it a point to always put her on just in case you need survivability. But also, if you're savvy, you could use her ability to get the ultimate faster. So they always put her ass on there. But they always also put Ryo for the attack increase. They put Shinomiya in there, so you're like not going to lose this. And they put 5 enemies out there that are weak to blunt attacks. And so this would be a pretty normal situation. I wouldn't run this team, but this would be a normal situation in Large Conquest, but that's not the case anywhere else. But again, Large Conquest is a piece of content that is long-standing. It's here indefinitely, right? They're not going to get rid of it. So that means, just like Shinomiya, if you were to get and pull Isao and build him up, you'd have a long-standing form of value. The only problem with Isao is eventually they're going to move away from blunt plates. And unless they put physical plates on, he's going to be irrelevant. That could be a year from now for all I know. But eventually, they'll move away from blunt plates and put like an element on there or something, and he could be irrelevant. That's not going to happen in Shinomiya because shot is just not going anywhere, right? It's cute. It's cute. He did double her damage because he just does more. But he also crit on everything. He's already at max Valor stacks. He gets that just... Oh, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's right. In the initial reading, it said when he attacks a Kaiju. So on an AoE stage, he's going to just constantly get... And look, they gave him the best possible uniparts. On an AoE stage, he's going to just start off with that. Because he gets 5, or 1 stack for each to a max of 5. When it's at max after activating a combat or ultimate, he gets extra damage and consumes all Valor and applies 4.4% crit rate to this unit. So is it really just 4.4? I thought it was 4.4 for each enemy. I guess we'll find out. He's already at 50% crit rate. All right, let's find out here. So he now has no Valor. It consumed it all. And it really was plus 4.4. What the hell is the point of this? This is like some sort of like... They did some sort of like calculations on this and were like, what is the perfect number to make him crit? A good amount, but not too much. He's got 145 crit damage also. Is he fully duped? There's no way he's fully duped here, right? No, he's not fully duped. This is the base character. That would also be super misleading. People actually may get mad at that. AoE follow-ups there, just like her, and that's why like they're so good. And the key thing is, if you had him, if you have Isao and you run that stage for a Large Conquest, the big thing is, my whole point was, Shinomiya is key, and you lack damage on the second team from my limited testing because it just takes so long to do it. And so if you were able to put him on one team and Shinomiya on the other team, you'd be fine. Now, typically the second wave, at least for the first Large Conquest, the second wave you wanted to use blast attacking characters. That's not been the case so much in this one. Yeah, that's kind of whatever to me. But anyway, you could do something like that and it would be much more feasible, I think. All right, so I think that is I think that's a good conclusion. Like I said, I just don't think he, for the 10th time, is all that great in general. He'd be really good in that content, and he'll be really good in that content for a long period of time. There will be some use cases for him on Blunt stages. Obviously, those are littered throughout the game. There are various places where you'll find Blunt, but you've been able to succeed in those very same places until now without Isao. Well, the caveat being maybe you use Kikuru, right? Or maybe you don't have Kikuru, I mean. And so maybe you haven't been able to. But I would just caution that if you don't have Kikuru, you could pull Isao and have him fulfill that role for you. You could also pull Kikuru down the road, but maybe you have Sagan, maybe you don't have Sagan. At that point, I would build Transforming Kafka. Not even Kaiju No. 8. Transforming Kafka would get the job done. He's a little bit slow on the uptake, like I said, but he's an AoE character. So he would just break plates for you indefinitely. So he would be my next character to build. Or you could build Isao, the old Isao. He could get the job done too. He's actually got more value because of the survivability factor. I use him all the time. He's a great character. So anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed. I'll see you all in the next video.